Hi everyone. I would like to apologize for the very late giving you lessons for our subject since I had to squeeze in my job being the administrator of a research office. Okay, so and then I tried to squeeze in our time, but then there are a lot of meetings, so I find it difficult to meet you virtually, and at the same time we are real time, so that's why I opted to have a recording so that you would just browse it anytime you want at your own convenience, and also this will not also hamper your work. So if you have work during our classes, or if there are problems with the internet connectivity, then uh, it will not become a problem also, and you can repeat looking at or you can repeat looking at this video, or listening to it to my annotation, since uh, it's already recorded. Okay, so for this afternoon we are going to have the overview, although you have noticed that I have given already an activity in which I have not checked yet, but then we will be relating those activities in the, I think, in the fourth video, because for the first three we are going to discuss on strategies in teaching mathematics in the intermediate level. Okay, so I'd like you to look at this scenario in which there is a student who has the worst experience in the class because his answers or her answers is her answers is always marked wrong because of the wrong sign. Okay, she said that she understood the subject, but she could not get it why his answers are going to be marked wrong, because he's not able to put, or she's not able to put the correct sign, whether it's a positive or a negative sign. Okay, so if you are going to reflect that scenario, that illustrates the difficulties experienced by many unfortunate students. Okay, so they find it difficult to connect on the signs, and that is if you remember, algebra is an abstraction of arithmetic, but then they could not connect why is this answer positive and the other answer is a negative. So if that is the case, then how is a teacher going to make that student understand the concept of signs? And if this is true, can we afford to let such kind of teachers not really what we call teaching them properly on how to use the signs? Because in that sense, they are going to affect the way the students feel about mathematics. And therefore, it depends upon every teacher to strive to improve her teaching style or method to increase the students liking mathematics or even loving math. And such should start as early as in the elementary grades. Of course, our lesson is, our subject is for the teaching of math in the intermediate level, but we should not forget that the building up of concept is from the basic education level. And the use of varied and appropriate teaching approaches can entice more learners to like and love mathematics. So for this strategy that we are going to discuss first, this is about discovery approach. Okay, so what is discovery approach? It is the approach in which we are going to teach learners learn how to learn rather than what to learn. For developing their higher order thinking skills, we need to use discovery approach also. And this approach sometimes is referred to as an inductive method of guiding learners to discuss and use ideas that are already acquired as a means of discovering new ideas. Okay, so we need to rediscover. Okay, so although it cannot be interchanged, the discovery approach and the inductive method, because inductive method is basically it's just a pedagogy under discovery approach. Okay, so this discovery approach is, if you remember the theorist Brunner. Okay, so this discovery learning allows students to draw on existing knowledge in order to solve the problem at hand. So this experimental process leads to learning new information at a deeper level than passive learning. So they are actively participating in the learning process. And it is also called an international learning because it is both the teacher and the learner who are going to play active roles in the learning process, in the discovery learning. So students are no longer part-time spectators, but they are participants. So unlike in the old traditional method in which students will simply watch how the teacher do it by looking at the teacher writing on the board or by the teacher explaining the concepts. But now the student is going to be a participant. And what becomes a teacher? She is just a conductor. And also called the midwife. Okay, because the teacher is going to have the mathematical ideas to be born in the student's head. That's why in the discovery approach, the teacher becomes the midwife because he's going to or she's going to have the mathematical ideas to be born in our students' heads. Another approach to teaching mathematics is the inquiry teaching. Okay, it is somewhat related to discovery because in the inquiry teaching, you're going to provide learners with content-related problems that serve as the foci for class research activities. Okay, so uh, the teacher, the same with the discovery approach, is going to provide the learners with content-related problems that serves as the focus. Or if there are so many focus, you call it a foci for class research activities. If you take note, it's more of the research activities, the inquiry teaching. And so the teacher is going to provide or presents problem, and then the learners are going to identify what are these problems. And such problems provides the focus which lead to the formulation of the hypothesis by the learners. So most of the subject that uses inquiry teaching is science, but you can use it in math also. If you would like them to discover, or if you would like them to discover the another method or another ways of solving this problem, okay, so you are giving them situations so they could formulate the hypothesis. Okay, so how does it start? It's going to start by posing questions, problems, or scenarios rather than simply presenting facts that are already established, or portraying a smooth path to knowledge. So, inquiry-based teaching is closely related to problem-based learning and is generally used in small-scale investigations and projects as well as research. So that's the one I told you that research is also using the inquiry-based teaching. And as I previously mentioned, inquiry-based teaching is primarily a pedagogical method developed during the discovery learning movement sometime in 1960s as a response to traditional forms of instruction. So the traditional forms of instruction requires people or students to memorize information from the instructional material. So it's rote method. You are going to memorize anything and then word for word. Unlike now that it is more of the understanding, it is more of the concept building that is going to be inculcated or developed in our students. Okay, so that ends for the first part. I need to chop it up into shorter video clips so that it's going to be easily uploaded and you can also easily download it. Okay, so the first activity is you have to create an activity, a short activity that will show how the concepts of perimeter and area can be taught using the strategies that are covered in this lesson, and it is worth 50 points. You may email it to me, so that's my email address, and you are going to submit it not later than June 21. Moreover, if you have questions, please post it in our group chat so I may be able to answer it. And post one question only. And if you have the same inquiry or the same question as the one earlier posted, please do not post another similar question. Okay? Okay, so that ends our discussion, and please wait for the next update for the next lesson 2.